A sociopathic boy slowly falls in love with a school celebrity but struggles with confessing because of how popular she is. The boy struggles with his violent thoughts, particularly fixating on Yamada, a popular girl at his school whom he dreams of killing every night, causing him to hate himself. In the library, he sees Yamada eating a rice ball and hides to watch her. He finds her humming and hand movements strange and starts planning to kill her. When he notices she forgot her box cutter for a social studies project, he considers lending her his. After watching her struggle to tear paper, he gives her his cutter. Yamada thanks him, and he steps back. When the bell rings, she leaves with his cutter in her pencil case. During a project presentation, he sees Yamada looking sad, which makes him angry. Noticing her crying, he hears helicopters and tears up his project to divert attention from her. However, Yamada asks her friend about the helicopters, making his effort pointless. He then sees her joking around with friends, which annoys him further. Overhearing a classmate's inappropriate remarks about Yamada, he rushes to the library and runs into her again. Another classmate, Hara, arrives and chats with Yamada. The protagonist wonders if the boy will ask Hara out, but the boy discusses his attraction to Yamada, and the protagonist wants him to stop. Yamada signals the protagonist to act like a cat, and she teaches him how to mimic cat noises before Hara and her friend believe cats are fighting and leave along with Yamada, who thanks him. Walking home, the protagonist questions his frequent encounters with Yamada. He enters a bookstore to find a CIEL magazine Yamada mentioned. Seeing Yamada and other girls, he hides and watches her strange behavior, wondering if she wants attention. After she leaves, he goes home and finds several photos of her in the magazine, which he throws out, feeling conflicted. In a flashback, it's revealed that the protagonist's name is Kyoutarou Ichikawa. At school, he sees Yamada with Haruya and wonders if he's her boyfriend. Following them, he hears them discuss social media and ice cream. When Haruya asks Yamada to add him online, Kyoutarou, reluctant to admit he cares, sends his bike toward them, but it misses, so Yamada asks why he did it, and he jokes, making her laugh before she calls him funny. Kyoutarou treasures the library as his refuge and dislikes being interrupted. He observes Yamada sneaking candy meant for children, but Yamada isn't able to find water for her meal, which Kyoutarou helps clean. Rushing to get the water before recess ends, Yamada returns in time to give it to her, and she notices Kyoutarou using a glass and offers him her trash. In class, Kyoutarou contemplates Yamada's loneliness despite her friend's presence and speculates about her intentions in the library. Yamada asks Kyoutarou for this fan, commenting on its pleasant scent. While smelling it, Kyoutarou notices Yamada wearing her swimsuit underneath her uniform. When Yamada receives a call from Moko, she hides under a table and asks Kyoutarou to cover for her. Kobayashi enters, discussing Yamada with Kyoutarou, expressing envy of her, so Yamada comes out, confirming that she likes being given compliments, accidentally touching Kyotaro's leg and arousing him. After summer break, preparations for the cultural festival begin. Kyotaro's class works on a haunted house, with Yamada asking for his help in decorating. Kyoutarou advises Hara but gets distracted, so Yamada startles him with a drawing of her family's name on a gravestone, suspecting Hara. Adachi accuses Kyoutarou, who confesses to prevent confrontation. As Hara resolves the misunderstanding, Kyoutarou helps erase the names and Yamada apologizes, while Kyoutarou adds his family's name to the gravestone before leaving. During the festival, Kyoutarou watches Haruya with Yamada and her friends, acknowledging his help in retrieving his bike. Exploring an exhibit about their town, Yamada takes a selfie with Kyoutarou, leaving him flustered yet happy, after which he remarks that our town 80 years ago won this year's top prize. Kyoutarou thinks about a story idea and then goes to the school nurse because he has a headache, but he finds out that Yamada went there because her stomach was bothering her, and she gives him candy while he takes a pill. When he sees that she left her gym clothes behind, he tries to give them back, but the nurse throws them at him. In class, Adachi asks Yamada an inappropriate question, but stops when he sees she doesn't like it. Adachi gives Kyoutarou a letter to give to Yamada, but Kyoutarou accidentally gives her a drawing instead. When he realizes the letter is innocent, he wonders about Adachi's intentions. Later, he hears Adachi planning something inappropriate involving the girls, and in the library, Yamada mistakenly thinks Kyoutarou ate her chips, surprising him with her trust. During basketball practice, Kyoutarou is confused by his feelings for Yamada. When she gets hurt, He listens in on her emotional phone call to her mother and realizes he has feelings for her. Later, Kyoutarou hears Adachi bragging about having Yamada's bloody tissues, but doesn't confront him because of his stained shirt and tells classmates about her injury, worrying about her appearance and disappointing her family. Feeling touched by Yamada's vulnerability, Kyoutarou leaves tissues for her in the library, watching her from a distance as she eats chips. Kyoutarou thinks about how complicated it can be to have feelings for someone before noticing Yamada hiding a milk carton and then going to the library to cook something. Curious, he follows her and suggests getting a bowl from the home economics room. They sneak into the room together to cook, bonding over their love for homemade food, but their cooking session is interrupted when a teacher unexpectedly shows up. While Yamada's cleaning, a girl named Rin unintentionally startles her, causing her to drop her rag out the window. Rin hurriedly says she didn't intend to do it and runs away. Later in the library, Yamada asks Kyoutarou to take pictures with her, but he declines because he doesn't want to cause any trouble with Rin around. Outside, Rin apologizes for throwing a basketball at Yamada, surprising them both. On their way home, Yamada notices Kyotaro's new bike and asks him to go with her to a snack shop, so he agrees despite feeling nervous. She tells him she's thinking about quitting the basketball club because she can't play, and the next day, Kyotaro's teacher talks to the class about students bringing food to the library, suspecting Yamada. Kyoutarou tells everyone that the teacher has given Yamada a break until the next week. Later, at a burger place, Kyoutarou runs into Yamada and her friends. He hears them talking about boys, and his sister embarrasses him before he leaves to buy something. Yamada joins him in line, and they talk about their siblings. When Yamada realizes she forgot her wallet, Kyoutarou tells her where the restroom is. At school, Yamada asks Kyoutarou to go with her to the teacher's office, so he helps her with a problem, and their teacher is impressed. Yamada thanks Kyoutarou by offering him some candy and suggests they become better friends. Kyoutarou and his classmates are visiting a workplace, assigned to make groups of 6 with similar interests. Adachi asks Kyoutarou to join his group, but they decide to help Hara and Yamada instead, who need extra members. They get approval from Moko and choose Kanzaki after a draft. Feeling Kanzaki's disappointment, Yamada and Kyoutarou persuade the girls to let him join Hara's group, so Adachi and Kyoutarou join Moko's group. Kyoutarou secretly watches Yamada and Hara in the library, overhearing their conversation about Kanzaki and Hara's relationship, but he's surprised by Kanzaki's advances, which resemble Adachi's behavior. Yamada admits she's single, somewhat hurt by Hara's remarks. After taking a selfie, Yamada notices Kyoutarou in the photo, so Hara and Yamada ask him about it, but Hara understands his curiosity. After school, Kyoutarou notices the rain and people sharing umbrellas, so Yamada, following a romantic gesture, asks to borrow his raincoat, planning to buy him an umbrella, which he agrees to and holds her bag, including her charge card. Kyoutarou returns her card when they meet again, and she shields him from the rain, asking him to put it in her pocket. Inside her bag, he finds a broken umbrella, so he puts a wallet in her shirt pocket before Yamada returns with a new umbrella and snacks. The next day, they reach Akaita Publishing, and Moko impresses everyone with her manga knowledge, but Kyoutarou worries about their group's performance. Adachi tries to talk with Yamada but fails due to his inappropriate remarks. Yamada recognizes a model's artwork, giving Adachi a brief topic before Adachi, Yoshida, and Moko leave, leaving Kyoutarou, Yamada, and Kobayashi behind. They see original artwork for Baki, but hesitate to leave Yamada and Kobayashi as Yamada notices Kyotarou's concern and takes him to see the artwork, where they end up separated from the group and missing their train. Kyoutarou asks Yamada to wait with him until the next train arrives, so he buys her some milk tea to calm her and takes the blame for their separation from the group. They share a laugh as Yamada imagines Kyoutarou jokingly claiming he needs the bathroom. During the train ride, they discuss relationships, with Yamada preferring discreet ones, after which they eventually meet up with Kobayashi and the others, with Kobayashi apologizing to Yamada for leaving her behind. At home, Kyoutarou vents about his workplace visit group to his family, but his sister notices he's been enjoying school more lately. At school, Yamada gives him some manga volumes as she'll be leaving early and wants to give them to him. Kyoutarou reveals that Yamada often leaves school early or stays home due to work, spending time in the library. She insists he reads the books and they playfully start arguing. Kyoutarou shyly asks if Yamada will be at school tomorrow, which she confirms, and leaves as he realizes he started to enjoy school and reads the manga at home. Adachi notices Kyoutarou and Yamada discussing manga and later asks Kyoutarou about Yamada's relationship status, advising him not to share their conversation. Annoyed, Kyoutarou leaves, questioning his feelings for Yamada. In the library, they find a warning about eating there, so Kyoutarou suspects someone knows Yamada eats there and worries she'll stop coming. Yamada defiantly shows him chocolates, but when they melt, Kyoutarou suggests she cuts back. The next day, he sees her with homework and chocolate under her notebook, sparking a discussion about food in the library. Yamada remembers giving him chips before, but Kyoutarou admits he never threw them away, leaving them both confused. Kyoutarou spots Yamada appearing on a TV show called Columbus Gakken, but he misses the actual airing. However, he sees her later at school, and although he acknowledges his feelings for Yamada, he's satisfied with their current friendship. During a marathon, he notices Yamada catching up, so he speeds up and advises her on her shirt, so she compliments his eye. After the race, he helps Yamada up, and they share a light-hearted moment. Interested in holding hands, Kyoutarou decides against pursuing it further to avoid overthinking. Later, he realizes they've accidentally swapped marathon vests. Worried about potential gossip, he's anxious about Yamada wearing his shirt during class, and despite his discreet attempts to inform her, she remains unaware. At lunch, Yamada returns Kyotaro's sports outfit, making him wonder when she noticed the mix-up before they visit the nurse's office and start bantering about their heights. Hearing discussions about Yamada's upcoming film role, Kyoutarou notices her subdued mood and wonders about her feelings. A seating change in class puts Adachi next to Yamada, causing tension. Kyotaro's accidental contact with Hara and an offer to share notes earns him disapproving looks, and later, he comforts Yamada, who misunderstands his intentions. Their discussion in the library clarifies Kyotaro's emotions, and they find solace in a private space before Yamada's excitement about her movie role surprises Kyoutarou, who agrees to watch it despite being initially reluctant. Watching the show at home, Kyoutarou feels conflicted about Yamada's limited screen time, and despite planning not to bring it up, he overhears her discussing the program with friends. Surprised by her enthusiasm despite her minor role, he sees her friends discovering a forged autograph and laughing. Yamada shows off her good grades to Kobayashi, making Kyoutarou help Kobayashi with math. Feeling jealous that Kyoutarou never helped her, Yamada hears about the upcoming parent-teacher meetings, so Kobayashi suggests she study more, acknowledging Kyotaro's intelligence and his involvement in the school's data processing club. Kyoutarou thinks Yamada mentions him in conversations to put him down before Kobayashi shares a funny story about Yamada using too much whipped cream, showing her quirky side. Kyoutarou sees Adachi getting scolded by his mom, worrying about his own meeting, and during the meeting, Yamada hears Kyotaro's mom praising him and looks forward to chatting with her. Kyotaro's mom praises his newfound interest in school and swaps candies with Yamada as a friendly gesture. When asked about the girl he talks about, Kyoutarou mentions Yamada, feeling embarrassed by his mom's presence. The next day in the library, Kyoutarou and Yamada chat about his mom, with Kyoutarou avoiding Yamada's playful questions about his family. They talk about homework, and Yamada mentions Kobayashi's extra lessons at home. When the librarian greets them, Kyoutarou worries about Yamada's lozenge, fearing trouble for eating in the library. Caught in the rain, Kyoutarou meets Yamada, who tries to shield him with a bag, but he declines, so Yamada worryingly insists he ride alone, leaving her stuff in his basket, and he later returns her things at the station. While looking at Yamada's Instagram, Kyoutarou wonders about her love life based on the food she had and gets sick with a fever, so she visits, apologizing for their earlier rain encounter and offering food from school. Worried, she helps him at home, offering tea before he faints. When he wakes up, Kyoutarou finds Yamada's note and cream, recovering from the fever the next day. Meeting Yamada again, he learns she has a sore throat, and the interaction ends with her watching him leave. Yamada and Kyoutarou talk about line and group chats as she wonders if there's a line group for the data processing club, but Kyoutarou isn't sure and doesn't want to ask, which annoys her. In class, Moko announces her plan to find a boyfriend before Christmas, and shares her line ID with all the boys. Yamada thinks it's a clever idea and talks with Kyoutarou until Moko interrupts and asks for his line ID, so they exchange IDs, which upsets Yamada. Moko suggests that Yamada should aim higher, mentioning Ishimura, the track team star, so she says they live in the same complex, but Moko pushes her to get Ishimura's ID, despite Kobayashi suspecting her true intentions. Though Kyoutarou doesn't want to interfere with Yamada's plans, he feels jealous. Remembering their conversation in the library, Kyoutarou panics in class, convincing Yamada not to exchange IDs with Ishimura. Adachi teases Kyoutarou for having his sister as a line contact and after school. Kyoutarou continues reading the manga Yamada lent him, wondering if she intended to give him her line ID earlier. Then he questions if he's being too hopeful, and he watches Yamada and Haruya's interaction. But Haruya's advances and Kobayashi's intentions make Yamada change her mind about going to Haruya's. In the library, Kyoutarou notices Yamada looking upset. When she asks about video games, he talks about his love for his Switch, so they chat about Yamada's dad's gaming habits, until a girl interrupts to apologize for Haruya's behavior. Yamada denies having a boyfriend and holds onto Kyoutarou's arm. After Haruya leaves, Yamada apologizes, leaving him confused. Kyoutarou overhears Moko telling Kobayashi about Haruya's intentions, which makes Kobayashi decide against going to his place. Yamada feels relieved, and they leave together as Kyoutarou wonders if Yamada used him to get closer to Haruya and feels distant from her. She approaches him, asking if he's upset, and he realizes she's not manipulative before they make up with each other and plan to meet in Shibuya over line. At night, the two happily say goodnight to each other over line. Kyoutarou waits for Yamada at their pre-arranged spot to get the next volume of manga from her, and when he sees her nearby, he walks over. She asks him to go with her to a place in the city. As they stroll, Kyoutarou takes off his hood and mask to seem less intimidating, and she hands him the bag so they won't lose their way. They arrive at a restaurant where Yamada wants to try the pancakes. While they wait in line, Yamada talks to Kyoutarou about dating myths related to amusement parks and lines. Curious about her hair, Kyoutarou asks how she styled it, so she says her mom did it, and shares some details about their mom's personalities. At their table, Kyoutarou notices the expensive prices and chooses cheaper meals. Yamada notices he likes dark clothes and admits she does too, so he compliments her style as they chat about their day. He starts feeling like meeting Yamada outside of school wasn't a good idea, feeling distant before the waitress brings their food, and Yamada asks him to take a photo of her eating for her socials. He suggests making a video instead, but advises against sharing it publicly, so she reassures him she just wants to share them with him. They go to a clothing store where Yamada tries on dresses, asking Kyoutarou for his opinion, and while she changes into a pink dress, Kyoutarou waits awkwardly. When Kyotaro's sister enters with friends, Yamada pulls him into a booth to avoid being seen, which he apologizes for, but she says it's okay. Kyoutarou compliments Yamada on the red dress as they leave the store, and she apologizes for dragging him around before he shares some personal details to reassure her. They enjoy the city lights and visit the train station where he takes the manga from her bag, and they accidentally hold hands on the train. They say goodbye at Kyotaro's house, and Yamada jokes about waiting to wish him Happy New Year, hearing which he wonders if she knows how he feels about her. Later, while reading the manga, he thinks about their day together and what it means for their relationship. Kyoutarou is at a restaurant with Moko, Haruya, and another person. Haruya asks about Yamada while Kyotaro's arm is injured. Flashing back to 4 days ago, Kyoutarou is on a trip to Akita with his family and is annoyed to share a room with his sister, fearing she'll discover his close bond with Yamada. While taking photos of Akita's snow, Kyoutarou trips and breaks his arm. After returning from the hospital, he sends Yamada a photo of his injured arm. That night, Yamada video calls Kyoutarou, noticing his injury. They chat briefly, and he promises to return home the next day before he notices his sister eavesdropping, but convinces her Yamada is just a friend, so she doesn't tease him. Later, Kyoutarou responds to Yamada's message, explaining he told his sister they're friends for now, which makes Yamada happy. They continue chatting in the hallway, discussing tasks related to Yamada's manga themes and exchanging goodnight texts before going to sleep. After returning to Tokyo, Kyoutarou visits an antique shop and buys a keychain for Yamada. During the ride home, his sister asks about Yamada, prompting Kyoutarou to realize their similarities in thinking. He meets Yamada walking her dog and returns her things. They visit a park, but Kyoutarou worries his gift isn't good enough as they try to train her dog, but it fails. Yamada retrieves her scarf from Kyotaro's bag, admitting she wanted him to keep it before he gives her the keychain, which she appreciates. Yamada invites Kyoutarou to a temple on New Year's Eve, and he agrees. Over the next few days, they text regularly while at a mart. Haruya tries to get Yamada's line from Kyoutarou before Moko intervenes, trusting him as a friend. Walking Moko home, Kyoutarou confesses his feelings for Yamada, so she says she already knew and invites him in, but he declines, vowing to confess to Yamada one day. Kyoutarou and his family go to the New Year temple event. He hopes to find a reason for his family to leave so he can meet up with Yamada later. However, his mom spots Yamada waiting for him, surprising Kyoutarou. Despite his sister Kana's encouragement, Yamada introduces herself to Kyotarou's family. At the temple, they make wishes and Yamada helps Kyoutarou due to his injured arm. When they meet back up with Kyotarou's family, Yamada asks about his wish, although he didn't get a chance to make one, so he says he wished for things to stay the same. After saying goodbye, Kyoutarou plans to meet Yamada again soon. Kana praises him for handling the situation well, and they find Yamada eating and invite her to their home, which she agrees to. On the way, Kana realizes Yamada may have brought food for Kyoutarou and thinks he has a chance with her. At Kyotarou's house, Yamada takes off her jacket and shoes, wearing Kyotarou's keychain. Worried Kana will notice, Kyoutarou tries to take it discreetly, causing confusion before Kana jokes with Yamada, embarrassing Kyoutarou. Kana shares her yearbook with Yamada and Kyoutarou, surprising Kyoutarou before Yamada asks about his old friends and they talk about their past. He reflects on how he used to keep to himself but now enjoys spending time with Yamada. On the way to school, Yamada helps Kyoutarou with his keychain. He realizes how much Yamada has positively influenced his life, and they share a meaningful moment before she gives him a shrimp candy.